What's going on, guys? Semi-Pro's Garage. Welcome back. So today we are going to start tackling some wiring. Maybe do a little bit more cleanup. Gonna try and mount the ECU, get this cluster all wired up, and then run all the wires for the EFI as well, and whatever else I seem to find while we're down here. So yeah, let's get to it. Wiring. Everybody's worst nightmare, it seems like, when it comes to any cars that it seems to come across. Well, I'm here to tell you, as somebody who doesn't really care for modern things, that wiring is really not that hard. A lot of it, just as long as you have a good ground and a good positive connection, most of it's going to be easy. Anyways, so this is the wiring for the EFI kit, right? So I'm going to go a little bit over what we got here. We got some extension cords as well, just in case, for some longer engine bays and different areas where you want to put your ECU. So this is the main wiring harness right here, right? So these are going to go to the ECU, and then everything else is labeled where it needs to go. So it's going to be really plug and play. This one goes to the coil, stuff like that. Throttle body right here. And then you have your extras. So this big old plug right here is going to be your extras. Now you can run off a whole bunch of different stuff and control it all by the system and the tablet that comes with it. And then this will be your fuel pump relays and stuff like that. So this is your extras harness. So basically you don't need this if you don't really want it. Or, like, we have 2 electric fans on the radiator. So we will be running those fans, and I thought about putting them on a switch until I looked at this wiring harness. I can run fan 1 and fan 2 off of this wiring harness and control them with the ECU and the temp sensor. And now we can also plug in the fuel level for our gas tank, and then our tachometer, obviously, our throttle position sensor. We can monitor that as well, and a whole bunch of other stuff. This one even has a plug-in for nitrous. So, anyways, that being said, like I said, a lot of extras, and it also has one for a GPS speedometer, which this truck will be getting eventually. Mostly because I know the gear drive for the transmission is going to be wrong due to the tire size. That, and it's used to a car. It's not supposed to be in a truck. So we'll probably be going to GPS, and that way we're kind of close on reading. Now I'm going to show you what all we got with this as well. So this is a Bluetooth canvas. So this allows me to connect to the ECU and monitor stuff on my phone. So we're going to mount that in a place. As long as I get good range on the Bluetooth, I can pull up the tablet on their app that they have, the Aces EFI app, and monitor everything and choose everything from there. And then this is the ECU. It's massive, let me tell you. It fits in the palm of my hand almost. That's the ECU. This little thing. So we'll find a place to mount this. I'm probably gonna mount it where I can reach it. I think I have a spot picked out already, and try and mount it up where it's kind of high and dry. It's gonna be inside the cab, not outside. You can mount these outside if you want. I'd prefer to protect mine a little more, so I'd rather have it inside. that is the ECU. And then this is our extra gauges, as I like to call it, or the fancy stuff. That is the 8-inch tablet, where we will see all of our gauges, do all of our tuning, and setup. Like I said, I can also do it on my phone. Everything I can do on this tablet, I can do on my phone, which is really nice. It's a lot of ease of use. You can stand outside of the truck. You don't have to be in the truck, and you can monitor everything and, you know, make adjustments on your phone, which seems to be really cool. And then obviously we're going to be wiring this bad boy in today as well, or trying to, and get this one all eased up in there. And then we got some other small wiring stuff. A lot of it's going to be running wires today and not actually wiring, because like I said, most of it's plug and play except for that dash. Sensor wires and stuff for speedometer and you know, some other things. And but yeah, so we're going to be going from like 3 wires that ran this truck to like 1 billion. And that's normally where people are like, man, once you open the harness up, you know, you see all them wires in there. You see this, see the old rainbow roots, you know, underneath all that cover. And you're immediately just like, man, I don't know what I'm doing. And you know, I get that. I'm not a big wiring guy, you know, but it's really not as hard as everybody thinks it is. And honestly, if you can find a diagram or follow instructions, and everything's going to be pretty easy. So that being said, I mean, talk about wiring. We got whole ECU to wire, which is going to be plug and play. Then I got to run wires for 2 fans and put them on a temperature controller as well, which I should be able to do through the ECU. We got to wire a start button, because I have a start button that I've been wanting to use for a while. I also have a fuel pump button. I don't know if I'm going to be doing that, because I can turn the fuel pump on and off through the ECU. I might do it for an extra failsafe. If not, I'll just take it out of the truck. Then we got, obviously, ignition. We got a water pump we got to wire up. So a water pump, I'm probably going to end up doing it through the, I might use the fuel pump switch for that one. And just get a different switch eventually. It says water pump on it instead of fuel pump. And yeah. So we'll be talking a lot about wiring, and we'll be doing some other stuff today. I got, so the shifter on the transmission, I'm going to change that out to one that is longer and not off center. So that one's meant to be in a car, so it's going to be off center, because normally you'll have the console in a car and they kind of off center the shifter a little bit so you can reach it with ease. This one we're going to need like almost straight up and down. That way I'm not having to reach so far over in the truck, and it's pretty much right where I need it on the driver's side. So we'll be messing with that too today as well. But yeah, so let's get into it, and I hope you enjoy it. Alright, so I had to go find a wiring diagram for the gauge cluster in this 71, which apparently is not super easy to find anymore. So this is why I'm going to give this to y'all. Hopefully y'all can see all that. just in case anybody needs to pause the video and look at it. And then I'll make sure to get a good picture of the Intelletronix gauges all wired up to the original cluster. That way y'all can use that as a reference for when somebody else is doing this. So anyways, I'm going to get to wiring and speed through this real quick. Alright, for sure this time. I don't know how long that camera was recording or if it was recording at all. Red is there. So if that's the case, this yellow wire is also an ignition wire, which we can use for something else. So we need to mark that. And this violet wire, I don't know. It says purple and white. So I'm going to assume this is it. It's for a low brake switch, which we have a brake, which is this guy right here. This brown one. That is the only one I see that is. But I don't know what that's for, honestly. Or if it even works. Like, I know there's a switch, or there's a light right here for your parking brake. But I don't know about any brake switch lights. So we're going to leave that one too. These two are dimmers. And then this is for the miles per hour, which we have to do on the transmission. So everything technically should be up and correct. I don't know if I have power or if my positive is even connected to this thing anymore. So I'm going to go take a look. Everything to check it, but it'll be alright. I'll check it whenever I get it all together. What we're gonna do, I'm gonna take a little break. And so day 2, I was getting pretty mad at this shifter when I started messing with it instead of the wiring. I couldn't get the spring right on one of the settings, and so I just kind of left it and took a break for the rest of the day. But we're back. I messed with it for, I don't know, probably 5 minutes, and I got it in finally. So let me show you all what's going on with that, and we'll go from there. Alright, so I might get asked why I decided to do this and take my 3-speed one apart and my 4-speed one apart and then try and mix them together. Well, the main reason was this shifter right here. You can see how far off it would have been. Like I said earlier in the previous time, that this was for a car and not for a truck, so I wanted to take that and change it. So luckily that fork right there is the same as the 3-speed one, so it's all the same setup, and this one's from the 70s and this one is from the early 2000s, but Hurst mostly uses the same stuff all around. So now I got the springs in there, I got the reverse spring in there as well, so this thing works. So now it's time to put them back in their bodies and get them all shimmed back up and ready to go. So I hope I can remember how to do that. I might have to look up a video to do it again because it was kind of a mess. And I had to take a break, so I don't remember everything right away. But yeah, so I'm glad that worked though, because I really like this shifter. I think that one's gonna be way better, and it's got the curve in it, and I'll have a bench seat, so it'll be nicer to shift on. So let me pop this back together real quick, and then we'll go from there. All right, so I got the shifter all together. I'll need to get the linkages back on. But this is what it's gonna look like. So it does all fit together. It's really cool. And yeah, this is what's going into the truck. I'll have to get new bushings for right here because these are pretty worn out. But I think they'll be okay for now. Yeah, that long ass shifter. So I'm gonna get the linkage all put back together. So when I am ready, I can put this on the transmission jack, lift it up, and then take a measurement from the middle of the shifter so I know just about where I need to cut my hole. And then I'll cut the hole big enough to where I can move this shifter around for the throw and all that. So, but this is good. This is done. And then I think we're going to start on the ECU wiring harness because I have to put all that in the engine bay. So I'm going to start just bringing out all the wiring and putting it back in the engine bay and getting it ready for the engine. So, all right. So I know I said, or at least the title will say, I messed with the EFI stuff. I kind of did, but not really. I really wanted to get my cluster wired up, which I did. And then I wanted to get my shifter all ready to go as well, and I also did that. My ECU, so I was planning on putting it in the truck, so I was thinking I was going to spend more time in the cab, but really my ECU has to go on the firewall in the front. And the only problem with that is that means I would have to put together pretty much everything back up front because I tore out all the wiring. I tore everything out of the main harness. It's all unhooked. It's all in the back of the truck somewhere. And I got to go through it and find it again. And make sure I don't have to make any repairs and stuff before I put it back in. And so I really wasn't ready to go back up front yet. And then mess with that because I don't have nothing on the firewalls. I don't have anything hooked up to my fenders. I don't have none of the wiring up there, so I'm gonna have to rerun all the wires and do all that, and so I can know where I could put my other wiring for my ECU, as well as some other stuff. Cause I still got to run wires for the oil pressure sensor, the other coolant temp sensor, and some other stuff that I got to run as well. So that's it. That's going to be the end of the video. We'll probably do that, I might do that tomorrow, Monday for me. I don't know when this video will come out. Hopefully today, maybe, which would be Monday. Or, sorry, Sunday. A day that ends with Y. And then we'll deal with that later. But, my ADHD is going 100 miles an hour right now because in my head I was like mentally ready and prepared to take the radiator support out and drop the motor in because I thought everything was going to go together and I wasn't going to have to send parts back. But now I'm waiting for parts, and I'd rather wire around the motor. That way I'm not making too long of wires, too short of wires. stuff like that, and everything is going to be pretty much exactly where I need it, instead of just guessing and leaving too much, too little, and then having to rewire stuff or whatever. So that was my main reason why I don't want to do that right now. So we're going to leave it like it is right now. This is the end of the video. Thank you for watching Semi Pro's Garage, and I'll see you next time.